the play here is not to care about the warehouse. The play here is to make sure no one is wrapping south around, in, and backstabbing Liquid on the southern side. Because if anyone does, they're going to be in trouble. In the meantime, now let's hop down to Ends, trying to hold off here. Not going to really pay off, though. Wastamar only defendable from so many angles. That nade looks pretty prime, though. Let's see if it's going to get any damage done with it. Does do damage to both Philo and Tundu, but not enough to find the knock. Ends trying to crawl away, and then remember, they lost Squeaky very early on in this game, so they're down to just 2 players.
And the zone is moving, by the way. Both of these teams are out of zone as well. Huge fight between Na'Vi and Entropic. That ends in Na'Vi's favor, but Quizzy and Alia both down. They don't have that much time at the moment. Northern Lights now pushing in center, while Ends cleans up here against No Name Yet. This is the fight on the east, but we've got another fight in the center of the circle about to pop off. It is all kicking off here in Game 13.
Here we go, back towards Na'Vi. They were fending off against Entropic, but now one more team peeks on over. Shift finds Nuki, not going to be enough to get the second. Tixon will find him, and Melman now single player left alive against all of Northern Lights. I don't see where you go from here to stay alive. He won't in the end of it, but Tulans finds him. So Na'Vi out in 12th. I was just saying this, making this southern transition is so incredibly hard, but it's actually all the teams in the center that are fighting for this one right now.
Another big fight on the west side of the circle as well. It looks like BBL are being crashed by Ding, I think. All over the place. We've got FaZe versus Enterprise. That's right. Here's the fight up north. A lot of stuff going on at the same time. Everyone choosing to go because of how much open space there is in this next circle. Exactly like you said, Toby. Nades out for FaZe Clan, using as much of their utility as possible to try and gain a foothold. They haven't got as many knocks as they would like yet. Almost getting Dedrix down, but Polish Power being the thorn in everybody's side here, doing damage, slowing down the fight.
And while you have Polish Power shooting at FaZe, you have Heroic shooting at Enterprise, so it's kind of a 2v2 battle going on right now. And unfortunately for Enterprise, it's Heroic hitting the shots here. Unfortunate for them, and it will fall down to 2 players. There you go. Mexi able to find players on Sakura Stanton as well as they've spread out. I mean, Liquid, they are in a wide spread on the south side, of course. They've made space, meaning they have a little more of a quiet time going on, while FaZe are still fighting up towards the north. Look at this map here. Look at the amount of space that Liquid has guaranteed for themselves.
Yeah, so this is how Liquid are playing this, right? They know that everyone's pushing into everybody else's compound. Vard earlier on spotted that no one else was down south, so they went, okay, fine. Let's just take real estate, knowing that we've got the hills later on, and let's just take whoever wanders out into the open. On board now with BBL. Remember, Ding have to push through them to get into zone, but BBL have all 4 alive. Ding do not have an easy task ahead of them. Senya gets caught out by Smash, and we have Sail, I think it is, already knocked upstairs on that hill. There's not much room left for them.
Very smart playing from Smash. He only really has 2 windows and a door to peek out of, constantly jumping down back and forth between them, never being a stale target. Already found 2. And with the way they're holding these angles right now, this, I would assume, has to go their way. But of course, nothing is guaranteed in the game of PUBG. Over, holding outside the door, not wanting to allow them to make this push on forward. There are shotguns on inside. Bestlock made his way up on the roof as well. This is an extremely exposed position to the Liquid players. If they spot him up there, but now Bestlock is up here. He's going to back off. I respect that play. Dangerous to overpeak, knowing that not only do you have opponents up close, but at a distance too.
And it means the BBL can't just look in the building because there are people on the building as well. A little bit tricky. Code Marco gets knocked. Every single time a member of BBL gets knocked, Toby, they always get knocked in a position where they can get res. They're being very conscious about their positioning, and I love it.
There comes Teams. We were just talking about it. The player at a distance was going to play a factor at some point, and here he comes. Phase 5 now. It's going to hit Bestlock too. More and more damage being done here with the blue. Upa, in the meantime, he's been playing around these smokes for a while. No, once again, Clip, and this time it's a headshot. 1 HP.
Classic.
For Upa. It's not the amount that he would have wanted to have coming in to this next fight. In the meantime, up towards the north, Enterprise do fall down. FaZe clean sweep them. And Bestlock now peeks on over, but the defense is there. Quetpa finds him and clip those damage as well as he takes down Upa with the arm.
And FaZe Clan just managed to wipe out a team, but Heroic are coming in for seconds because they've realized there might be an opportunity to third party to take out a team that isn't at full power. They know it's FaZe Clan. They know exactly who they're up against. Vex goes down, a little bit more HP to play with. Page once again going down to 1 HP. All of these wonderful PUBG players taking our advice. On board now with T-Bone. Doesn't quite get the trade in, unfortunately. Diggory able to get the return frag. Liquid finishing off BBL on the opposite side of the circle, but Heroic still pushing in. Wow, can FaZe Clan do? Diggory tries to hold out. Doesn't quite manage.
Clean from Heroic. Yes, T-Bone gets knocked, but he managed to fall back into position from where he can't get taken out. In the meantime, as you said, Clip pretty much single-handedly took out the entirety of BPL. Not sure exactly how that went down, but they tried to wrap underneath, and that's exactly why they split it the way they did. Now Nixie over the top, he's ready and waiting. They were not expecting to have players this close on the side of Heroic, but unfortunately for Beamy, caught out of position there. Spotted, taken down, and not really a hold up the 3 other players could do about it. The issue now is that you still have Norcus up towards the north, kind of looking towards Heroic from behind, and they have a move to make forward. Do you push into Sakura Sanson, or do you try and wrap rest into the remaining Polish power players?
Sakura Zenson there, showing Heroic, hey, you know what you just did to FaZe Clan? We can do it to you too. Managing to get one early. Heroic escaping north by the looks of things, but both of these teams have to think about how they're going to be moving into circle. It's not that clear because Northern Lights compound is still in the middle of this. We're not really talking about them because they're super safe just shooting at everyone else from a central position, but ultimately all of these players have to collapse in.
Mexi looks at the crate.
Really?
He's got a level 1 vest. Why not swap it for level 3? And if he can get over here without being taken down, that would be worth it.
How did he not get shot at? Nice.
No one's looking this direction. He's all right for now. Vard, in the meantime, spots the Sanson peek on over as they make the play on over. But Lewis there, ready and waiting. And him and Perfectix take out the entirety of Sakura Sanson. And this is absolutely amazing for a team like Heroic, knowing that your threat on the roadside has just been dealt with for you.
I love what Team Liquid are doing right now. They're moving back south, being nice and calm. They don't want to aggress any further east. Why? Because they think that in Phase 7, and I think they're correct, Northern Lights are going to have to come out of the compound and face them. They would rather they come and face themselves on their terms rather than them having to push into the compound.
The only issue here is that while they were going east to try and isolate on that side, teams went down. Unfortunately, Polish Power weren't really in a position to try and make a play off of it, but still do lose one. In the meantime, Heroic has lost 2 as well. Corexi, T-Bone, both alive. Able to stay alive, I should say, but as I say that, Corexi gets taken down by Cappy once more. Will the West come in or will it not? I'm not sure. In the meantime, Liquid now pushing ever so much further up inside this circle. Crunio ready and waiting on the backside of the ridgeline, but he's not in a hurry to make a move because he right now is playing contain. You don't move, you just make sure the players don't come past you.
If Crunio gets knocked, this is problematic for Polish Power, but assuming they don't, they have half the circle. Half the circle to themselves. Heroic now out Norcus with another absolute belter of a frag grenade, taking out Heroic in 4th place. They've had a great game. It's now our final 3 teams. Team Liquid with 3, Northern Lights and Polish Power with 4 apiece.
The compound holders have been blessed with a couple of circles going their way, but I've got to say, man, I really love the way the Polish Power has been utilizing the open terrain here. Every single time there's been a fight, they've looked for a way to third party. They come down to teams, take them out. They peek over the top earlier. They almost took down players from the other side too. Now let's see exactly what happened here earlier. Vard found one, and then Clip was just sitting on the other side, ready and waiting. Solid split there. Peeks up from behind the tree, catches both of them out of the car. What a transfer. What a transfer from Clip. Gets the first one quickly. Second 2 ones pretty much faster than I could find a single knock in a game of PUBG.
Oh, that's so true. It hurts. Me too. It's all right. Luckily, we got these guys to do the fragging for us. Clip there. Absolutely fantastic spray transfer. So glad we managed to catch that. But now it's down to the final 3. And would you look at that? Northern Lights, they've had this compound for so long. They've basically been able to farm damage and kills from this compound. And now they're going to have to do it the hard way. But to be fair, they also have a lot of experience doing it the hard way.
Question now becomes, when we've had this discussion before on complimenting teams for making the play out of the compound at the right time.
Yep.
Is this now too late? Vard is positioned well. He's already shooting at them now. That's a shot you can hear. He's playing contain inside. I mean, both Mexi and Clip are playing contain inside.
Well,
all of Polish Power are looking towards the compound as well. Can Northern Lights make the way out now, or did they simply move too late?
So it's the classic PUBG, it depends, right? Because if there's any circumstance where Polish Power spot Team Liquid and they start shooting first, Northern Lights are going to look like geniuses. If they stay apart and everyone looks at the compound, it's going to be obviously too late. Yeah. It's a question of what everyone else does. But I guess the point is, their future might not be in their own hands, and that's why they might be using vehicles to get rid of that. They don't want that uncertainty. They want to get into circle right now and force everyone else to fight.
You get out of the car, you instantly find Crunio. That is exactly what Northern Lights needed. Some sort of a gateway, some sort of an opening to make the play on forward. Now, Spiro does fall in return. Again, Cappy, such a high-impact player throughout the tournament so far. They will get Crunio back to safety. The rest should be possible. They've left Norcus up in the northern side. Once again, I mean, Norcus playing that kind of split position, trying to make sure that no one's being allowed to wrap around the side.
side. Toby, Team Liquid aren't interested in third-partying this. They're peeking over the ridge. They're taking a look to see if there are any free DMR shots. No one's running in. No one's chucking the nades or anything like that. Mixie's taking a look, but they're not actively getting involved.
They want to third party, but the fight hasn't really popped off yet. That was just the appetizer.
Yeah.
The first knock, they knew there wasn't going to be a big part of it. So instead of taking a fight, they just used that time to reposition. Now they know the further we move forward, the further we move into the circle, the more we're forcing these teams to run into one another. And now is when they're sitting and waiting. Believe me, as soon as the knocks start coming this way, they will engage. The issue now is if they go too close, there's also a chance that Northern Lights up to attack Team Liquid instead.
That's why you don't send it in blind the moment you hear gunshots. They've got the kill feed to inform them exactly how committed these teams are as well. And you can see Polish Power, and you've even got a Spiro on the side of Northern Lights, always having a cheeky peek in Liquid's direction. They're never fully committed to the fight. And they're actually backing off slightly right now because they're like, Liquid have been really quiet.
Northern Lights playing this 2-2, like 2-2 split. It's very close, but they're essentially playing a 2-2 contained split. Nobody wants to move, but they both want to make sure no one can push them. Northern Lights are built for these end games. If you go back into stats and see how many of their top 3 games they end out in top of, they are as good as any other team in the world at clutching top 5 situations. And this is part of the reason other teams would have potentially felt forced to push into Polish Power earlier, ended up being backstabbed by Liquid, but they sensed, wait, Liquid actually ain't pushing right now. We can just back off and hold this one down. If this, the final circle is going to be on the dot and everyone is pretty much in an even position. Right now, there's no good reason why any one team here should be the third party and not get the chance to third party. It all depends on where that first knock comes in.
Batulin spotting 2 members of Liquid there, and also caught a quick glimpse of the Gillies dude as well.
Look at this, they're forcing them to wrap into Polish Power. Somehow, despite being the team that had to wrap out of the compound and be completely sandwiched, they're allowing themselves to get a third-party opportunity here.
Who's doing the hurting? No, Liquid fall back. They're like, we want to hurt you guys into each other.
Yeah,
we don't want to let you third party. Everyone's just
too late now. Northern Lights has simply set themselves up in too good a position for Liquid to make a play here. It's the uphill push. It's practically going to be impossible for them to make the aggressive play without Liquid, I should say, having a chance to make a play. Issue here is if Batulins gets knocked now, that is them completely exposed from behind, and they will guaranteed get dropped. They're setting themselves up in a 3-1 split with Batulin staying on the hillside. He's essentially single-handedly tasked to holding off Liquid. He has to show enough presence that they're not going to make a move, but he also has to play safe enough that he's not going to get taken down.
Easier said than done when so many of these players are pretty good at hitting those headshots. Exactly.
They all still have nades. These 3 teams,
wait for the third party.
They've been playing at a distance up until now. Believe me, as this circle now starts closing on in, eardrums will be exploded seconds from now. All this utility are going to be flying in just a couple of seconds. Again, as these teams start making their way closer towards one another. But I love the way Northern Lights has managed to avoid being the ham in the sandwich.
3 teams, no one wanting to shoot first. This is about to become a TDM match, ladies and gentlemen.
It really is.
But there's no respawns here. Spyro spots a couple of Polish Power members, and Batulins does see a couple of members of Team Liquid. All 3 members of Team Liquid now. Triple nade coming out towards Polish Power. Great commit. Nixie gets copy to begin with, and the fight has officially begun. But even still, Team Liquid throwing more utility their way. They're not pushing in yet.
Remember, every single player going down here is utility you won't get to use. All these players has got utility in hand. Why? Or why not why? Where does Liquid up to engage on this? Right now, Polish Power are being herded into the corner. They can do nothing but take a fight here because the blue is forcing them to make a move. Mexi spots 1, spots 2 over the top. Will go down masterly. Clutch headshot comes in there. Will this allow for them to make the play on forward? They need to wrap south. They need to get away from Northern Lights, but Liquid is still ready and waiting for them. 2 players still alive on their side. As Clip tagged up by the molly will take damage, but holds off Infectus on the other side.
Clip going down now as well. Liquid down to 1. The initial gambit with the grenades has not worked. Polish Power back up to 4. Crunio goes down, but now Northern Lights are coming in. Polish Power towards the center of the circle. They're leaving Crunio alone. They're focusing now on making sure they don't get wiped from above.
Northern Lights peeks on over. First going down, 2 go down on the other side, and Polish Power falls as Northern Lights